Hands up, I have a headphone addiction, but I've never really got into audiophile headphones. And for ages, I've really wondered what I've been missing out on. So I decided to find out. Welcome back to Ellis Reviews, and thank you as always for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, just hit the button, really simple. So I'm pretty lucky, or perhaps unlucky if you consider what I just mentioned in the intro, that I receive lots of headphones from manufacturers and little companies who want to show me what they're doing in terms of noise cancelling headphones and in-ears and over-the-ears and all that sort of stuff. I've also bought a lot of pairs of headphones as well, which means this studio is full of them. And what that's given me is a really good appreciation of everything from the kind of super expensive AirPods Max to the brilliant Sony XM4s, and then even some of the lower cost options like the One Audio A30s. But there's always been this nagging thing at the back of my mind, which is, what am I missing out on that audiophiles love so much? And something that prompted this question was a interview I did with a chap called Jeff a little while ago. We spoke about the AirPods Max, and the reason we did that was because I wanted to get his opinion, being an audiophile. You know, if we compare them against the expensive setups that he uses, are they any good? How do they compare to these really expensive separate audiophile systems? So I decided to build my own audiophile setup. Just a very quick explanation of what an audiophile is. Basically, it's a person who really takes an interest in the quality of sound. As you and I would listen to music for enjoyment, they do the exact same thing, but they pay real attention to the quality of that audio. So they'll be listening out for things like how wide the stereo separation is. They want to hear every single little instrument. They want to hear the stroke of a guitar string, the hammer of a piano hammer, and all the breaths and the kind of all the noises that you hear from vocalists. I totally get why they like that. I'm not like that. I listen to music for a very different reason. I still love sound. I've always mentioned on this channel that sound has always been a very important thing to me. I want to hear good sound, but I don't listen to it analytically like audiophiles do. But I thought, what the hell, let's just create my own audiophile setup and just see if it's something I could get into. So the first thing I got my hands on was an iFi Zen DAC. Now this was very kindly loaned to me by iFi Audio, and it's one of the kind of most respected entry-level amp/DACs that you can actually get. It was £129, which is nothing really actually. When you start getting into this world of audiophile you can spend an awful lot of money on separate components. What the iFi Zen DAC is a built-in headphone amp and a digital to analog converter. That's the DAC. And the reason you need those two elements, the first being the headphone amp. So the headphones that audiophiles tend to use need driving, they need power. You can, if you want, plug them into, for example, your Mac Mini or your MacBook, for example, but those devices don't have enough guts to really drive those headphones and get the best out of them. And the result of that is that they would sound quiet and you just wouldn't get the dynamic range out of the headphones. So to really get the best out of these headphones, you need an amp. The other thing you need is the DAC, the digital to analog converter. What that does, it takes the source material, which in this case comes from my Mac Mini, via USB-C and turns the digital audio signal into an analog audio signal. And that basically restores and gives you all of the warmth that you get from analog sound. Now you can get these things separately, but like I say, the iFi Zen DAC has all that stuff built into it. And also I love the controls on it. If you watch this channel regularly, you'll know that I hate touch controls. So to have a proper thing in front of me where I can turn the dial to turn up the volume is just fantastic. In terms of headphones, I went for these. These are the Sennheiser HD560S. They're basically a bit of an entry-level pair of headphones for this type of audiophile setup, but they're really highly recommended. If you go on Amazon, for example, I'll leave a link in the description, you'll see that people rave about them. You can spend an awful lot more, a bit like the amp and DAC thing, you can spend a huge amount of money on audiophile headphones, but these, for when I bought them, were £169, and yeah, I think that's not bad money. You see where the money's going. The money's definitely going into the audio quality and also the comfort. These are probably the most comfortable pair of headphones I own. They're more comfortable than AirPods Max. They're more comfortable than the Sony XM4s. You can wear these for a long time, partly because they've got these very nice kind of, I'm not sure what it is, but it's a very soft material on the cups and also on the headband as well. Very, very comfortable pair of headphones. They're not the most well-built headphones in the world. They wouldn't put up with an awful lot of stick, if I'm honest. They're very plasticky. They look okay, but they're not really built for taking out on the road with you. The other reason for that is because they are what is known as open back headphones. And you can see here, there's a it's not completely open, but there's a little grill here. The reason for that is basically it gives you a much wider sound stage. Unlike, for example, the AirPods Max, which are completely closed cups, these aren't. These actually let sound come out. Now, two things with that. One, you won't want to wear them on the tube because you'll annoy everyone around you. But two, it does give you a much wider stereo field. And all I do with these, I plug these straight into the iFi Zen DAC. Done. Now, the reason I think I was recommended these headphones was because they're a very good entry-level point into getting into audiophile headphones. And the reason for that is that they're not completely flat in terms of their frequency response. Headphones like the XM4s are very coloured. It's why all of the kind of consumer-grade headphones that I review and that you may have tried yourself, they all sound a bit different. Some have got lots of bass, some are very trebly. The reason for that is that the manufacturers have chosen a sound profile for mass market. You think of Beats. Beats are known for having really bass-heavy sound. It's not necessarily the way that the mastering engineer of each record intended you to hear it, but it's what Beats want you to hear. Now, the Sennheisers aren't like that. They're a much flatter, neutral sound, so it's much closer to what the mastering engineer and the band will want you to hear. Now, special mention must also go to a company called Linsol, who very kindly sent me 2 pairs of in-ear audiophile headphones to try out. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. I think they're called the Audio Legacy 3 and the Tripowin TC01. They're much more like the in-ears that singers wear, for example, on stage. They kind of mold into your ear, roughly, and the cable is very tough, and they're just very high quality. They're not very expensive. Again, I'll leave links to these in the description. It's a different experience listening to these compared to AirPods, or certainly compared to the over-the-ears. And I do think in-ear audiophile headphones have quite a defined audience, actually. I'm going to keep using them. I'll write about them on my blog, and they are superb. They're not very expensive, but I do think they have a defined audience compared to that. I think over-the-ears are a bit more, I don't know, a bit more approachable, really, if you're new to being an audiophile. So first impressions, what does this setup sound like? I was suspicious before I went into this experiment, because I did think that potentially it would make me want to listen to things analytically rather than just enjoy the music. And that bothered me because I love music and I don't want to just listen to Out for Different Symbols and, you know, breaths made by the vocalist and stuff. I want to enjoy the music. And there's a word that audiophiles use quite a lot, which is engaging. And they talk about an engaging sound. And that's the best way to describe the experience of using these Sennheisers with the iFi Zen DAC. It's addictive, it's immediately apparent, it's a very high quality sound, more so than AirPods Max, more so, to be honest, than any other pair of consumer grade headphones I've used. The biggest thing that hits you without a shadow of a doubt is that soundstage. And by that I mean the width of it. You know, you don't feel like you're listening to a pair of headphones. You almost feel like you're listening to something that's in front of you, or you're in a big stadium, and it's just a massively wide soundstage, again because of that open back design on the headphones and just the way that the headphones are driven by the amp and designed. It's all of that goes towards creating this really lovely wide soundstage. Now, I won't get into the weeds with this, partly because I'm not an audiophile and I don't fully understand it, but also because the telling thing with this, if like me you were just curious about how these headphones sound compared to regular consumer headphones, I can just say that you won't be disappointed. You won't suddenly think, this isn't for me. I think you'll be impressed. The sound quality immediately over the AirPods Max and the XM4s, it's just there straight away. It's so much better. Very quick note on the source, because this is very important. So because these headphones, these audiophile headphones, are so unforgiving and they reveal so much about the music and the audio that you're listening to, if you're listening to a bad source, so if it's low quality, low bitrate music, you'll really hear it. In fact, you'll hear it more so than a pair of consumer headphones, partly because they are designed, those kind of headphones are designed to hide the inefficiencies of bad quality music, and the way they're kind of tuned and EQ'd will disguise it. That isn't the case with the Sennheisers, for example, because you can hear everything that's going on. Now, you've got a few options with this. Apple doesn't really have a high definition music streaming option. They use AAC as their codec, and it's high quality, don't get me wrong, but you need to look beyond Apple Music. So you need to look for things like Tidal, Amazon Music HD, and Spotify are also going to bring out their own version of HD music streaming. What does that mean? Well, it basically means that these services are providing you with streams which are close or identical to CD quality audio. There's very little compression going on. And in the case of Tidal, which is the service that I chose, they have something called master quality. And it's not available across the entire library, but there's a huge number of tracks that are featured with master. And it's basically their highest quality audio. So it's even beyond CD quality. It's much, much closer to what comes out of the studio, basically. The version of Tidal that I've signed up for is Tidal Hi-Fi, and it's $19.99 a month. Spread that out across 2, 3, 4 years, it's quite a lot of money. But it is worth it if you listen to a lot of music and you really get into this setup like I have. I listen to music all day, and Tidal is a service now which I'm using for several hours each day, so I'm certainly getting my money's worth. But it is worth shopping around. I've not tried out Amazon Music HD yet. At some point I think I will do a video on the comparisons between all the different music streaming services, but if you're interested in getting into this audiophile world, shop around. I do recommend Tidal Hi-Fi. It's expensive, but it's very good. I like the app. I like the whole way it's all presented. I love the master audio that's in there. But yeah, just make sure you shop around. In conclusion, put it this way. If I'm sat at my desk, my go-to pair of headphones is now the Sennheisers, the HD 560S. That is what I now listen to music on while I'm working, sat at the desk. So if you're curious like I was, I'd recommend giving this a go. Set yourself a fairly low budget, don't spend too much money, and perhaps sign up to a 2 or 3 month trial of one of the music streaming services that offer high quality. Most of them will offer some form of introductory offer where you can get 2 or 3 months cheaper or even free. So just shop around a bit, give it a go, because like I say, you won't be disappointed. You will be, like I was, amazed by the sound quality. Just bear in mind, as I've been warned, that it can be a bit of a rabbit hole. I think the more you get into this, potentially the more money you spend. But crucially, it does not spoil the enjoyment of music. And that's the thing that I was worried about. I was worried that I was just going to be listening out for the higher quality and all the analytical side of it. It's just a premium listening experience, which I really recommend. If you're still not sure, if this all sounds like too much hassle, stick with your consumer grade over-the-ear headphones. On that note, if you want to buy a new pair of active noise cancelling headphones, but you don't want to spend a huge amount of money, keep watching for a link to a recent video I did which compared some budget options. But in the meantime, thank you as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.